Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video. Thank you for being here today. I'm planning to do, well actually this is a retake of the first stream I did from Genova to Rome Ciampino, but miracles of, well, myself, I've managed to delete the stream from YouTube, so I thought I'll do it again. If it's the first time you're joining, this is just a full flight on the Toliss A321 from Genova, which is this beautiful airport in northern Italy. This very dramatic landscape, or I say beautiful not because it's beautiful, but simply because it's my hometown, and down to Rome Ciampino. So the main airport in Rome is Fiumicino, which is a, well, of course, very large international airport. Rome Ciampino is a smaller airport that has a very interesting kind of approach. There's a sort of circle to land because of terrain, offset. It's a really challenging approach, and challenging to a point if you're flying an Airbus, which has all the tools to make it as easy as possible. So I thought today we'll do a full video and showcase that. Anyway, so let's get started and start bringing the airplane to life. Okay, I follow real world procedures as much as I can. I'm not a pilot. Again, usual disclaimer, I'm not a pilot. I'm only a simmer. Never been on many airplanes apart from being a passenger. But I'm trying to following real world procedures as much as possible, as closely as possible, from a specific operator. Of course, different airlines have different SOPs, so you might see me doing items at different times than you're normally used to. Everything I do is taken from real world, but it could differ because you might be using SOPs from a different operator. If you have any questions about the procedures that I do, just please feel free to comment on the video. And of course, if you like the video, just hit the like, subscribe. That'd be very much appreciated. Now, so we start in the cold and dark airplane. So we start just some preliminary cockpit preparation. So engine masters are off, engine mode selector is in normal, the weather radar is all off, PWS is off as well. We check that the landing gear is down, the wipers are off, and then we go on to the batteries. We have at least 25.5 of charge, so we can start battery 1 and battery 2. External power is available, so we bring it up straight away. Now we need to do the APU fire test before we do anything else, but it takes 40 seconds for the screen to self-test. In the meantime, we'll bring up the radios and we'll load the plane. Okay, operational flight plan. This is a BAW format, so a British Airways format, which is very good for Airbus as you have all the relevant information. So you might see it's slightly different from what you're used to. This is the British Airways format. Now the 69.6 is going to be the zero fuel weight today, so full load of passengers. There we are, 69.6, 218 passengers, and block fuel is going to be 5.7. Not on that sim or anything, so we don't expect any delays, so 5.7 will do. There we are. Now the screens are up, so we do the APU fire test. Press the test button over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 warnings, and we're good. Then we come down here, we check the door page. Oxygen is in the green, so it's enough. Hydraulic fluid is topped up, and the engine oil is 17.5, which is good. Perfect. Then after that we check the parking brake is set. We have parking brake here, the pressure is 2000, and we can see the parking brake set over here, and the accumulator pressure should be in the green. It's slightly slow to make it go to the green. We can start the yellow electric pump for a few seconds, and the pressure is now in the green. Without pressure, the parking brake won't hold, so you need to make sure the pressure is always in the green, otherwise you need chocks. After that, we'll check our flaps flaps are indicating 0, and on the cam is 0, and the spoilers are retracted and disarmed. We would check at this point, well, a documentation as well of the aircraft. We would check the circuit breakers, which are not modeled, so you can skip that part. There we are. Now we're going to go and prepare the overhead. So we start with crew oxygen supply on, ground control on, CVR test we hold for 3 seconds, even though it's not simulating the Toliss, so you don't hear the noise. Now captain and purse, the evacuation switch for certain airlines is only captain, so in the down position. Certain airlines allow the personnel, so the cabin crew, to initiate evacuation as well, so they will be up. Put the eye rest on, 1, 2, 3. Strobe on, nav 1, seatbelt, no smoking auto, and emergency light armed. We then check that the landing elevation is auto, so on the 12th position, cross bleed auto, and temperature are all as you need them. Then the 2 faults, Gen 1 and Gen 2, are respected, the engines are off. The pumps, fuel pumps, we leave them off until we switch the power to APU. And then now we can do the engine fire test. Engine fire test 1, so we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 indications. So you have 1, 2, 3, these 3 lights. 4, the master warning. 5 is the ECAN coming up. 6 is the engine fire here, and 7 is the CRC, so the chime sounding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're good. We continue the overhead here and the cargo. Flight controls and maintenance panels. There's no white light, it's all good. And audio switching is on normal. Then we'll come to the center panel. We'll set the QNH. Let's go and get the QNH. Today is 1017. Anti-skid and nose wheel steering is on. The time is UTC. This switch is on GPS. And then we'll do the center pedestal. Radio is on. VHF 1 and 2. VHF 1 receive and send is good. The intercom knob will be activated, but it's not modeled in the Toliss. With the multi-scan on. GCS on. The ground collision system, and then we tilt the radar up 5 degrees for takeoff, so we don't have ground returns. Cockpit door goes to normal. Switching here, all normal. Check thrust lever 0. Engine masters off, mode normal. Rudder trim is on 0. Parking brake, gravity gear extension door is stored. And then on the transponder, we put altitude reporting on. System is 1, and we tilt it above. There we go. At this point, we can start the setup, the FNGC or MCDU setup. Flight plan is there. There we go. So we check A321-200 with CFM engines correct, database is current. Init page, we can either enter it manually or load it. I normally load it directly from the saved file, so there we go. Alternate for today is going to be Naples. Flight number, we're going to be a fictional. This is not a real world schedule, it's just fictional. Not many airlines fly anymore here to Rome Ciampino. Cost index is going to be 5. Cruise level is going to be 290. Relatively short flight. Align the IRS. Because see if the winds are, we can load them now. No, it's a short sector, so there's no cruise. As you can see, if you go on wind, you have only climb and descent. And once we enter all the performance, then we should get the cruise part as well there. So after the init page, we do the flight plan. We're departing from runway 28. And via the unit 7 kilo departure. Check here on the ND on the plan. Yeah, and LIRA we're gonna do actually, well, here it says 15, but we're going to do a VOR 33. So that's the procedure that I wanted to show you. Then I'll show you everything, the charts in the cruise. The star is going to be a Nel Cup 4 Foxtrot via Rome. There we go. Okay, there's a discontinuity, but we can join it. It's this sector over here, so we can just delete the discontinuity and join the parts. As you can see, we follow a VOR procedure, we go around. So the VOR is this one, the Rome, follow the VOR, turn around, and then reapproach visually. As you can see, hands here, because then it's a visually manually flown last part. There we go, flight plan is loaded, second flight plan, copy the active. We'll do a return to the same airport. Visibility is good, so we don't need a departure alternate. Come back to Genova. We would come back to the ILS 28, no star, no via, no transition, insert, and that's it. Select the performance for the second flight plan. Approach we said is QNH 1017, temperature is 9 and wind 40 at 12. 179 40 12. 179 40 12. There we go. MDA is quite high in Genova. Let's load this up. Airport. Let's load the departure, unit 7K, and the approach ILS set 28. So the DA788 for a cat C. And in case of go around, elevation is 10 feet, I believe, literally on the sea. So we put 1000 above. That's again airline specific. But here we do 1000. Engine out acceleration is the missed approach. 3000. That's good. Second flight plan is in. Don't need this one anymore. Rat nav, we leave it to auto tune. We don't need anything there. Init page 69.6 confirmed. Let's check. Confirmed on the operational flight plan, and CG 28.6. Block fuel 5.7. And at this point, before we check this one, we enter the wind. So init page, winds, cruise. We can take this one. I'm using active sky, but this is close enough. 280 and 98. Such strong winds actually. I'll double check on active sky. Yeah, 282 at 098. That's exactly the same. Perfect. There we go. Important to enter the winds to get the correct fuel calculations, especially if it's high. If it's 10 knots, it doesn't change that much, but with strong wind, it will make a difference. Now we need to always change Airbus, of course. What's green, you cannot change it. What's blue can be modified. So these three normally needs to be changed to reflect this one. So here we have 0.8, 1.5, 1.3, 0.8, 1.5 for the alternate, and 1.3. Let's round this one down. 1.2 missing a little bit because it's planning to use 2.2 against 2. So let's take another couple of 100 kilos. Yeah, with 5.9 we are good. So we add a couple of 100 kilos and we're good. Init page, then we do the prog page. We'll just enter Lima India Mike Juliet 28 in case we need to come back. Optimal flight level is 343, but it's a short flight, so we might not make it there. That's why 290, and that's correct. Now performance have a look at the runway, whether you need to enter any shift. So in case you were departing from an intersection, you might need to change the length of runway usable, and you need to do it before you do anything else, because that changes the performance there. So if we were to put 500 here, you can see V1 has changed to 141, and it can change even more than that, or simply tell you that there isn't enough. You can see the figures change, so it's important to do that first. There we are. In this case, we're going to backtrack, so we'll use the full runway, and we have full shift. Now, flaps is going to be 1. Remember, if you're in a Neo, if you're using a Neo version, you need to enter this one as well. Otherwise, it will give you an error. Now, today, we're not in a Neo, so we don't need to, but this is the way you would put it in. There we go. But that's only for the Neo, so CO today, we wouldn't need that. We wouldn't receive a warning. Now, flex temp is 46. Engine out acceleration 1000 above airfield. And then speeds 148. 148. And 150. There we go, we're good to go. At this point, all the MCDU preparation is done, finished and finalized. We can finish preparing the cockpit. So we will check the oxygen. Unfortunately, the test is not. It just shows you put in the mask, which you wouldn't. So we'll skip that. Set the QNH on the EFIS, so 1017 on both sides. Decide what we need here. We need constraint. We'll do arc, 10 miles arc, 40 miles on here. Speed and heading dashed. Altitude is the initial climb. Let's have a look at the chart. It's only above. We don't need to be at any specific altitude. Initial climb. Runway 28. Intercept. Transition altitude. No, there's nothing. There's no initial climb, so we'll just do the transition altitude, so we'll remember that. And that is good. Then we come down here and we check the pressure page. Elevation, so this is the elevation, the landing elevation. Automatics 420, and we check it here. That's 420 at Ciampino, and that's correct. Status page, everything working correctly, and then we go on to the FNC, well, FNGC, data, position monitor. We have all the IRS are in nav and aligned, so that's good. Back that to birth. This one on flight plan, and we are good to go. Now at this point we can, well, we would obtain ATC clearance. We have everything, so before we do a briefing, we ask for clearance just to confirm the departing runway and procedure and the SID. And once we've done that, well, at this point we will get the squawk, so just set a fictitious squawk. Then after that we can start the APU, master switch, start the APU, and then let's do a quick briefing. So today we're flying, as we said, Genova to Ciampino. In terms of weather, we're pretty good. So weather here today is 040 at 12 knots. So we are departing, why we're departing from runway 28 with a wind at 040. Especially with wind at 12 knots. Let me see if I can change that maybe. Yeah, I'll say we'll take there we go, runway 10. The seat is the same, so that doesn't change. Okay, let's check here the plan. Yeah, exactly the same procedure. We're gonna have to change the performance page, and let me check the secondary flight plan as well. Well, in this case, we'll keep, it would be a tricky one. It would be a circle to land anyway, so we don't really need anything there. We just need runway 10 with no star and just a center fix. There we go. Okay, lovely. We just need to change the performance figures, recalculate quickly, and that's it. Now, flaps gonna be 146, 148, 148. Oh, sorry. And 150. Perfect. That's why we do briefings. There we go. So, as you said, wind 040 at Toliss, so a little crosswind coming from the right, so we'll need to make sure we put a little bit of left rudder. There's only a few clouds, nothing particular. If we need to come back, we can come back to Genova. We have normal items. The airplane is a good state of maintenance. We don't have any OEBs or any no terms applicable for today. We are parked at stand 303 over here, so we'll push back facing south. And then we taxi via Alpha to Bravo holding point, Bravo for runway 10. The runway is 2,900 meters, so plenty of runway, flaps 1. It's perfectly fine. There we go. Let's check the FMC quickly. Data we set A321 200, so beware of tail strike on this one. CFM engines, database's current performance is loaded. Init page, we double check. Genova to Rome Ciampino, we're going to be Alitalia 358 and cruising at 290. Weight 69.6, loaded, block fuel 5.9 against the 5.7, and that is loaded and balanced. We then go on to the flight plan. Departure from runway 10. We're going to be on the unit 7K departure, right turn straight away at maximum 185, so we need to make sure we have that speed. Is coded there in the FMGC, so it shouldn't be a problem. We have then a transition altitude of 7,000, and if you constrained over here, Exito, about 4,500 will be at 10,000 there already, so that's not a concern. The MSA is going to be 6,000 in the sector we're flying in, but we're going to be over the sea as long as we continue going south, so that's not an issue. Length of the flight plan 265 is the track miles against 247 because we're doing the circling to land. That's good. 47 minutes against 39. We then have RadNav, leave it to auto tune, proc page 290 as we said, it's okay. Coming back to Genova, performance page, we have runway 10 full shift, flaps 1, flex temp is 46, and then speeds 148, 148, 150. Clean is going to be 225, so need a while to clean. 1,000 feet above airfield is the acceleration standard. Fuel prediction, planning on arriving with 3.6, and on the plan says 3.5, so we're good there. Second half of the plan we said we've entered coming back. There we go, briefing is complete. At this point we can put the APU bleed on, disconnect the external power, and the fuel pumps can go on. There we go, let's go push back.
Please show me where you want to go. The cockpit.
Perfect there.
Driving up.
And we can do a before start checklist. Before start checklist, cockpit preparation completed by both pilots. Barrel F 1017, 1017 showing 20 feet. So that's correct. Acres initialized, we don't have that. Parking brake is on. Parking brake is on. Fuel on board 5,900 kilos loaded and balanced. NAP has been loaded. Flex temp is 46 and the speeds are 148, 148, 150. Let's request clearance for push and start. Pretend we have that, and we get beacon on.
All doors and hatches are closed.
Lock the cockpit door. And we have transponder on exponder showing TICA standby here on the ECAM. Let's wait for the tag to lift the plane. The jet bridge is disconnected, all the doors are closed.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
There we go, release parking brake.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Interesting technique.
Questions, please ask a member of your cabin crew. Thank you.
There we go, so we start the block timer over here. And we're good to start the engines. So engine mode selector goes to ignition start. There we go, we have pressure. So we can start engine number 2.
We're now going to explain the emergency procedures on this British Airways aircraft.
Yeah, sorry, a bit confusing with British Airways cabin announcement and on an Alitalia. Fly on the least British company there is. But better not to have Alitalia ones.
Insert the metal tag into the button.
There we go, 23% CFM start, fuel flow, EGT rising.
Simply lift up the metal flap on the buckle and pull apart. We'll find this
Oh, with external view, very bad thing.
when it's on.
I got caught in the external view, didn't do it before start checklist below the line, so the signs were on and also the beacon was on.
If you are routed
Transponder was exponder, nose wheel steering disconnected, showed on the ECAM. Windows and doors we checked were closed, and the flight deck door was locked.
are fastened and visible during our flight.
There we go, good start on engine number 2,
Your life jacket is underneath your seat.
and it's available, so we can start engine number 1.
Take it out of the container and place it over your head. Pass the tapes around your waist and tie them securely in a double bow at your side. Inflate your life jacket when you leave the aircraft.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Babies and children.
Parking brake set.
Safely into the aircraft.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
You'll be told to take this protective brace position. We will now explain how to leave the aircraft in an emergency. Move quickly to the closest usable exit, taking nothing with you. High-heeled shoes must be taken off, as they may tear the evacuation slide. Emergency lighting, including floor-level lighting, will help you find your way to the exits. These are clearly signed. There are 2 exits at the rear, one overwing exit on each
There we are, we have a good start, so we start the chrono
of the aircraft.
to check for engine warm-up time.
Point out the exit that's the nearest to you. To open the main doors, pull the large handle inwards and upwards. The overwing exits are opened by removing this cover.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the left. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
Opening the doors and overwing exits automatically inflates the evacuation slides. The slides can also be inflated by pulling the handle at the main doors and this handle at the overwing exits. Jump onto the slide and move away from the aircraft. If the aircraft is landed on water, you should leave by the overwing.
There we are. Pushback is left, and we can see the tag in his hand, so we're good to go.
Attached for use as flotation devices.
Now mode selector goes back to normal.
The aircraft, inflate your life jacket.
APU bleed off. We decide for engine anti-ice, which we don't need. The clouds are a bit higher. We'll check as we climb. To leave engine anti-ice off, master switch for the APU goes off. Then we can down. Ground spoiler is armed. Rudder trim is 0. The
Stay in your seat.
stabilizer trim was down 02, so round about there. Flaps go to 1, takeoff position. And we're good, we can check. All the slides are armed on the door page, and all the slides are armed. We can do the after start checklist. Ground crew clearance, we've seen it. Anti-ice is off, not needed. Flaps, we read the ECAM 1+F green, and we read the MCDU 1 blue, and they match. APU is off, yellow electric bump is off because it's a 2-engine taxi, and ECAM status is checked. After start checklist complete. We'll ask for taxi to ATC, and let's pretend we are clear for taxi via Alpha to holding point Bravo for runway 10. Runway turn off, lights on, nose light to taxi. We start taxiing, clear left, clear right, release the brake. Wait to build up a little bit of speed, and then we'll do a brake check. So as you're taxiing, announce brake check, press on the brake, and make sure that the pressure here is 0, it doesn't rise, otherwise it means you're in alternate braking and your main braking is not working. Let's do a flight controls check while we're here. So full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and rudder, full left, full right, neutral. We need to take the first left. First right, sorry. I'll do a quick recap. So, well, ND makes sense. We're departing that way to our left. So we'll have a first turn, quick turn to intercept that radial over there. Speed 185, we'll climb unrestricted, there's no constraint, so we can climb all the way up as we want. MSA 6,000 feet, but we'll be over water, so we'll be okay with that, and stop altitude is 7,000, the same as the transition altitude. So that's reviewed. We're away from personnel, ground personnel, and buildings, so we can start the weather radar. We'll leave it to system 1. PWS goes to auto, and then we can put already the transponder to TA array. We come back up, terrain we leave it only on pilot monitoring, we don't need it, it's not a concern, and then auto brake max. At this point we can do the before takeoff checklist. Now flight controls have been checked, TCAS is TA array, and we're displaying TA only on the NT because the plane knows we're on the ground for now. Low sheet has been acknowledged. Trims, we said down 02, which would be at what, 29 point something. And normally pilots don't use what we use in the Toliss, but they read 29.1, which is this one, and matches here around about 29.1 over here. Departure brief has been confirmed for runway 10. Takeoff data, it's going to be runway 10 full length, and the rest of the takeoff data we read here: 148, 150, climb nav blue, 1 FD2, 7000, and flex temp 46. Flaps is 1+F green and 1 blue. ECAM memo, press the takeoff config button. ECAM memo no blue, we just need to ping the cabin. For takeoff checklist to the line complete. While we're approaching, we check the brake temperature. This is not a turnaround, but normally we would check that the brake temperature is below 150. Otherwise, you need to delay the takeoff. Let's assume we've been already cleared for takeoff, so we don't need to stop. Strobe light goes on. Taxi light takeoff. Here we are. The standard landing lights off, and the packs 1 and 2 off. Clear left, clear right. Nothing on the TCAS. Let's do before. Takeoff checklist below the line. Takeoff runway is confirmed. There is runway 10. Cabin crew signal will extinguish it now. Well, in reality, normally, before you enter, you would click off and on. There's no smoking sign. And the packs are off. 1 and 2 packs off before takeoff checklist complete. 7 minutes, so we are good with the engine warm-up time. We can reset the chrono. Advance to 50% N1. There we go. Manflex 46 SRS auto thrust blue. Takeoff thrust is set. We check it here against the set value over here. Let's start the chrono. P1, rotate. Slowly, 3 degrees per second. To 15 degrees. Positive rate. Gear up. Autopilot 1 can be as early as 100 feet, so we have Autopilot 1 active. 185, the constraint is there, so we're good. It's commanding lever climb. We wait for the positive speed trend and pitching down. Now we can do thrust climb. Thrust climb, auto thrust. Pack 1 can go back on. 10 seconds in between the packs to avoid too much pressure in the cabin all of a sudden. It's already deleted the constraint. We're still in the turn, so we'll put selected speed 185. Pack 2 back on. There we are. Turn is finished, so we can put back minus speed and start accelerating. Speed will retract the flaps. There we are, flaps 0. Once the flaps are up, ground spoiler disarmed and the lights can come off. They stay on until 10,000 only in the States, in Europe. That's not compulsory. And we can do an after takeoff checklist. Landing gear is up, ECAM memo is checked, and barrel F is still 1017, so let's wait until we get further clearance. Let's clear ourselves to 290. Set standard set. And we're good. We're in climb. Alt blue 290 standard set. So the takeoff checklist below the line bar F. Standard set 1, 2, 3 times. Yeah, we've only 147 miles before top of descent. So that's 22 minutes. There we go. We wait for 10,000 feet for the next actions. We're pressurizing, cabin altitude 1,700. That's all good. Temperatures reasonable. As soon as we pass 10,000, we'll do an altitude check. And then we'll do the 10,000 feet floor. So first thing we do just an altitude check. So we'll state flight level, whichever you see, flight level 101, climbing flight level 290, standard set. Then we check the overhead. The lights are all as they should be, so all off. Seatbelt. Doesn't seem to be any turbulence. We're above 10,000 feet, so we can put seatbelts off. EFIS, we check what we need, so we can put that now to 80 miles. We can put airport on one side, we'll keep constraint on the other one. And everything else is good. ECAM status, nothing reported there, so we're good. And then we do FMGS, whatever we need. So right now, if we had anything hard tuned, we would delete it. Prog page, we check that the altitude makes sense. As we see today on the flight plan, very close, top of climb and top of descent, so we cannot go any further than that. Over here we put the destination, so LIRA 33, so the threshold of the runway where we're going, and performance nothing to do. Fuel prediction 3.7, and on the plan it was, what was it, 3.5? Yeah, 3.5, so we're still good. And the second flight plan, at this point we copy the active. Also, yeah, no, we have runway 33. We do something else. We're seeing. Now, yeah, I'll start explaining you why I'll do this. Let's load the charts. So Lima India Romeo Alpha Rome Ciampino. Approach. No. First arrival we said, what was it? LK4 Foxtrot. LK4 Foxtrot. The approach is going to be the circling VOR. There's two circlings. One is a VOR and one is an RMP. They both do exactly the same thing. So from the Rome VOR, normally to land on 1.5, you would arrive this way and then do an approach. To land on runway 33, which is rarely used because there's terrain over here, that's why there's a complex procedure, you can do either a VOR approach, which is this one, or an RMP approach, which is this one. Normally using the VOR is better because the minima is lower. So with the RMP, a bit of slightly rocky here. with the turbulence. So with the RMP, the minimum is 1470, and with the VOR is 1350. So it's better to use the VOR. So what we're gonna do, the procedure is as such: we fly towards the VOR. Let's see here. Fly on top of the VOR, then we'll take the radial 178 out of away from the VOR here, and then we make a left turn and intercept the radial in 344. But the procedure ends here, which is still 4 miles from the airport and very much offset from the airport. I believe it's around 15 degrees offset. So we have a final part of the circling, which is this one, the final bit. So once you're at 4 DME from the VOR, we'll break off, and this will be a manual procedure. We'll break off, turn right to 008, and once we're at 2.5 from the VOR, we turn left at 329. So yeah, that's exactly 15 degrees offset, and we land manual on the runway. So if you see, the secondary flight plan stops there, but it doesn't give us the center line. That would help a little bit with the final turn, even though we're going to be visual, but any help, especially in the sim with only one pilot, is useful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the secondary flight plan, copy the active, and then as a destination, instead of putting that procedure, the VOR 33, we're going to put just runway 33 with no star, no via, no transitions, and that's it. And that will give us the extended center line and the center fix. So we'll turn roundabout here, and that will help us getting in line with the runway. That's all. So this will be all done automatically. Of course, it's all coded in the FNC, so we don't need to do this as a VOR approach. It will be on all in nav. The only thing we'll need to do, I don't believe normally VOR approaches if the glide path. So this glide path is coded in the FNC. You can select approach and go in final approach, and then will be flown automatically. I don't believe that's coded, because if that is coded, normally there's an indication of the degrees of the glide slope here, which is not there. So we'll do it manually, which anyway with the FBA mode in the Airbus is a lot more fun. It's better to do. So all we're gonna have to do is to arrive over here at 3,000 feet and then start the descent in FBA minus 3.5 degrees down here, and then we'll keep that at 4 DME. We'll turn right, continue the descent, and then turn left and land. That one there, I believe, should be Elba Island. And what is this small one? Lost it. L'isola di Gorgogna. That's a very small island. And then Elba Island, which is beautiful, absolutely stunning island here. And well, we're nearly at top of climb. it will start a little briefing and checking everything is coded correctly. Normally start, well, yeah, that's even late, but we've discussed already most. So normally 100 miles from top of descent to start checking that everything is correct. First thing I do, I check that the altitude we're losing makes sense, so the vertical profile makes sense. So for example, over here, planning on losing 4,000 feet, and I just do the normal rule of 3. So 4,000 feet, we need 12, we have 16, that's good. Here we're losing 8,000 feet, we'll need 24, we have 38. That's because we have now if variations from that. So normally on a calm day with no winds, to lose 8,000 feet, you'll need 24, nothing else. You'll see we have 38, which is quite a lot more, and that's because of the tailwind. So we need more. If we had headwind, you might see that figure a lot lower. So today we're okay. We have 38 when considering the headwind, the tailwind. Then over here we're losing 3,016, more than enough, and 20 knots as well. So add 1 mile for every 10 knots of speed you need to lose. And then we're losing 5 in 20, we're losing nothing in 1 because we're losing some speed. We're losing, well, I'll start Mach 290, we're good, we're in cruise. Alt cruise. Then we're losing 1,205 and a little bit of speed. Now, in terms of speed, what do we want to be at? So the procedure, we're planning to be at Rome already at 215. Which is, well, quite early, and we're on an A321, so our clean speed is going to be 222, so our green dot speed, you can see here, is 222. So we need to be already flaps 1 all the way from Rome, but we won't. That would be a bit too bit excessive. So we stay at 222 until here. Then we'll put flaps 1 just before this point, 178. So as you can see, this is 178, D178 Juliet. Juliet is the 10th letter of the alphabet. So 178, so it's the radial from the VOR, 178 degrees there, and J is Juliet, it means 10 miles. So this is that waypoint. That point will definitely be flaps 1, and then we'll put flaps 2 before the next waypoint, which is this one, the 164 radial. After that, which is this one, we'll need to be at 3,000. Now normally if we had it programmed, coded in the MCDU, and we could use the final app, it wouldn't really matter. You wouldn't want to level off. You could follow directly the vertical path, the glide path, and do a continuous descent. But since we need to start the descent manually with the FBA, we want to have a couple of miles to settle down and then initiate that descent, also because that needs to be done 0.3 nautical miles before the start of the actual descent, because when you pull your vertical speed and you start descending, it takes a while, of course, for the plane to start descending, and it takes around 0.3 miles. So already at 8 miles from the VOR, we will want to be definitely in a good position to start the descent, and a good energy position as well. So if we check here we're planning to be at the center fix, which is here around the start of the descent at 3,090, which we don't want. We want to be there at 3,000, so we change the constraint. Instead of 3,000 plus, we put 3,000. But on top of that, if we do that, the plane is gonna plan on getting there bang on the money. So 3,000 exactly, well, round about here, which might be a bit too close. We want to level off early. So the options are two: either we change this constraint and we put 3,000 there, so we know we level off there, or we can descend in open climb at a certain point. Of course, the safest option is to be at 3000 at the fix before that. So we can do 3000 there. And we'll know we won't have any problems. There we go. At that point, we can put flaps 2 over here. I want to be as configured as I can. Again, because it's an FPA descent, and then it's going to be a difficult procedure. It's going to be high workload. So in this case, we will do a decelerated approach. So we will do flaps 2, gear down, and then flaps 3 before we start the glide path. Then we put flaps 4 at the end. There we go. So that's all programmed. A couple of other things that we want to do. It's a complicated MSA here. I want to do something to put that visually on the ND. So let's wait until we start descending. Well, let's program the approach now, the performance page. Let's put the weather condition, LIRA. Okay, QNH is 1010. We put it on the standby, so it needs to be set here by top of descent as a reminder. And if you want, you can preset it here and then put it back to standard. So you just need a click once you need it. Again, especially in the sim with one pilot only, anything that helps workload is normally very welcome. Our QNH is going to be 1010, we said. Temperature is going to be 13. Wind 040 at 10. It's okay. It's good. It's actually... yeah, it's fine. 90 degrees is fine. We can start the descent, so let's start descending to 10,000. Around 4 or 5 miles from top of descent you can start. It doesn't matter how early you start it. Press the button, push the button, we go on to descent, and then we'll keep a shallower profile and intercept further on. So this squiggle, the blue squiggle, tells you when you're going to intercept. The actual profile will be at a reduced descent climb of 1000 feet until we intercept the profile. So the NDA we said is going to be 1350, which was the NDA here, 1350. And then the go around, again, 1000 above airfield, so that's 427, so 1430, 1430. And then on the engine out acceleration, we'll put the missed approach altitude, 3000. There we go, that's all coded in. What we wanted to do is to put a fix to visualize this MSA I. So we go onto the flight plan, select any point, do a lateral review, fix info, and we'll put the Rome VOR, which is this one, 87 miles. There we go, now we're on thrust idle. We intercepted the path, the vertical path, and we're descending. We're on the green dot, the speed is correct, and we'll keep monitoring that. Slow speed is only 240 because we have a strong tailwind, so we're actually doing 446 ground speed. There we go, radials, we need a 270, which becomes a 90. We need a 045, which becomes a 225. We'll do a radius, that's always 25 miles for the MSA. And then we'll need another fix. We have only 2 radials there, so we'll do another one for the last slice of the pie, which we don't necessarily need, as we're going to be in this one, but we'll put it there. 175, 355. There we go. At this point, we should have... Sorry for popping all these screens, but I always think it's a lot easier to read for you guys with this ones rather than here. There we go, flight plan, and we have our pi. So it's 3,800 this side, 7,100 this side, and 8,100 this side. So we'll note down the MSA. But today, what's important is the 7,100. Let's get the last chart we need, which is the airport chart. Also, it's a very interesting runway. As I said, even with a little bit of tailwind, runway 15 is preferable, of course, because it's just a straightforward ILS. Also, the elevation here on runway 33 is 426. On this side is 341. That's 80 feet, which is around about 25-30 meters of difference. So there's a big downslope on this side, and it's only 2,200 meters. So not the longest runway, so we need to be careful there. So auto brake we're gonna put, well, I don't think we'll need medium. We'll put low, and then we'll do manual braking. There we go. At this point, let's do a little bit of briefing. We're going down. The arrival is pretty straightforward here. There's only a BBEC. There we go. CMP, maximum 230. And that's already coded. And we should be good with that. Here, well, this is the different MSA. That's not relevant to what we're doing today. So nothing else to see here. Well, here a lot of important things. So let's have a look. So the VOR is going to be the 110.8. So we can hard tune that already. Again, it's all coded, so it's going to follow the procedure anyway. We don't necessarily need to have it there, but just for situational awareness, let's say. And then we can follow as well if we wanted. We could follow what the autopilot is doing by putting the course. So you could do a 178 out on one side, and you could put the 344 in on the other side. So as you're flying, you can just flick this one to VOR, and you could follow if everything is correct. Anything that helps navigation and cross-checking everything is good, is welcome. The only VOR that we're gonna need also, yeah, we want to auto-tune it because we want to make sure we're gonna need the DME displayed at all times, because all the procedure is dependent on DME, so we don't want that to leave the ND. So we want to have it always displayed, so it's better to hard tune it. So that's all in. Final approach course is going to be 344. Well, before we break off, the glide slope check, well, we're going to have all the glide slope checks on the way down, but we'll put a 2350, so we start from 3000 and then we'll check at 60 ME. That's going to be 2350. Airport elevation is 427, so this one we keep it in mind because we need to do a position check, checking when the radio altimeter comes alive. That happens at 2,500 feet above terrain. So we add this figure and we come out with a figure of 2927. So in an ideal world, if the terrain was completely flat around the airport, the radio altimeter would come alive at 2,927 feet on the baro altimeter. And then we make a cross check to make sure everything is correct. We said that's the MSA 7100. The missed approach procedure will turn left That of course will happen before the last turn because the minima is at 4 DME. So here we need to make a decision. If we're not visual, if there's any other problem, we'll go for the missed approach. We turn left, intercept 332 out of the VOR, climbing to 3000. Anything else important here? Nothing. All good. Descent angle is 3.5 as we said. Minima 1350. And that's good. We're gonna then land on, well, we'll do this at 4 DME. We'll turn 008. And then at 2.5 we'll make a manual turn. Will be manual at this point. We'll make a left turn and land on the runway. The runway is 2200. We're on low brakes, so we'll need to then use some manual braking. And then we should be able to come out by Alpha Bravo or Alpha at worst case scenario, and then we'll taxi back via Alpha all the way to the terminal, which is actually here. That's good. In terms of fuel, we're still good. We still have 3.8. Oh, we saved a lot. But plenty of fuel in case anything goes wrong. The weather, we said, is good. Fantastic for a visual approach. Couldn't be better. So I'll keep these up for the rest of the flight so you can see clearly the procedure. CMP, we should slow down at 230. We'll just monitor that's happening. The deceleration point is this purple, this magenta dot, which, considering we're doing 255, seems a little bit close. CMP, we're planning to be at 120, so 1.5 to lose. We need 4.5 miles. We should be okay because we need 4.5 miles. We have 7.5, 33 knots of tailwind. And I need a little bit of spoilers, a little bit of speed brake. You can see we're beyond the bracket, the upper bracket, so let's help it a little bit. Put some spoilers. You can see the target is now 230 as per constraint. We've leveled off as we knew. There we go. CMP 230, we're good. Store the spoilers. Retract the spoilers. So we cleared ourselves to 10,000. Let's clear us to 6,000, which is the next one. And voila. Descend 6,000 feet and QNH 1010. Our blue 6000 1010. Now we're good. We've been cleared technically below the MSA, even though it's the MSA of the next sector, but we're visual and we'll be all the time on the procedure, so we're good. If we were in IMC conditions, if we were in clouds and everything, when we're clear below MSA, we will always consider why we're doing it and if it's safe to do so, if you cannot see the terrain. "10,000 feet, we'll do the light checks. Same check as before, we start putting the seatbelts on. Consider the EFIS. Put constraint back. ILS, we don't need it. Make sure that we're showing the VOR, the needle for the VOR, which we are. Consider the ECAM. Nothing there. Press the status page. Everything is operative. No failures, nothing to note there. And the make do, we've already entered everything. And the second flight plan as we need it, all the performance. And on the RATNAV page, if it was an ILS, we would check that it's tuned correctly. We have the VOR as we need it with the 2 radials, and we're all good. We can see the airport already. Looks like something fairly big fell there. We've already switched the QNH, so we can do the approach checklist for not for everybody, but for the SOP that I follow normally, the setting the QNH to the arrival QNH is the signal for the approach checklist. Of course, it wouldn't be in the States, it wouldn't apply because you're way too high to do that. So approach checklist, ECAM status has been checked. Approach brief, we briefed everything from approach runway 33. Minima is 1350 baro set. Approach phase not active yet, even though we can, because we're targeting already low enough speed. As you can see, the D magenta is here close to the VOR, so we could wait for that and that will do automatically, but we're already targeting below green dot, so we might as well activate it now. So approach phase is active and QNH is set 1010 twice and cross-checked. Check the ATIS again. The ATIS is 1010. That was issued at 12:20. Okay, Zulu, which was half an hour ago, so that shouldn't change before we land. Get everything here so we can have a look. So the speed constraint at the VOR would be 180. As you can see, it's coded there. I'm not going to slow down. Just for the purpose of the video, to make it a little bit quicker. Also because to do 180, today I believe we'll need to be already flaps 2. Because that speed is 208, so that's the minimum speed with flaps 1. So we don't want to be flaps 2 already here. So let's clear ourselves to the final. So descend 3,000 feet. At this point we don't need to necessarily follow the vertical path. We could descend even in open to make sure that we're at 3,000 feet. What I was saying earlier, from this point, even if you didn't put those two 3,000 feet constraint, if you didn't change these over here and it was still 3,000 plus, you would just make sure that you're at 3,000 early enough by going into open descent now. And at that point, the plane would reach 3,000 as soon as possible. So that will give you a safety margin. Beauty of the Toliss, especially when you do approaches like this, save the situation. So if anything goes wrong, you can do it again. So let's start slowing down. Let's put the flaps 1. Also, as we said, we can double check on the VOR mode. There we are, we're perfectly on the radial 178 from the VOR. You could fly manually by using the VOR and then using the track FBA. You could put it on track 178 and then you could even do the final turn, but we have lateral navigation, so we might as well follow it. There we go, 1,000 feet to lose. And we have 2 miles before, or 4 miles before we start the descent, so we're good. Start putting flaps 2 now with a S speed below the VFE next. And put flaps 2. And here we'll see that the plane will go and intercept the 3442, the VOR. So we have selected already track FBA. So instead of using heading and vertical speed, you can see here, we're going to do track and FBA, so we can select that minus 3.5 degrees descent. We're at 3,000 feet, so we're in a good position. So we will need to start the descent, as we said from the chart. 7.7 we want to be descending already, so 8 DME we want to pull that FBA knob to start the descent at 3.5. Gonna do gear down now. Gear down, we arm the spoilers. Turn all the lights on, nose light goes to taxi. Being the cabin crew, we'll put flaps 3 down now. 8.8, so we can now pre-select that minus 3.5. Stays only 45 seconds and then it reverts, don't do it too early. 8.2, 8.1, 8. Pull, FBA minus 3.5. And then we can check at 7 miles. 2,500 is a live position check. We were expecting a 2920, so that's perfect. 7 miles, we want to be at 2725 to double check. 7 miles, 2720, perfect. So the next action at 4 miles, we will turn 008. Landing checklist, auto brake is low and ECA memo landing, we're only waiting for flaps full. 6 miles, the check is 2350 as we had said during the briefing, so 6 to 350, perfect. So we can set the track again, that stays only 45 seconds. So we're doing 150, so 1.5 miles. Yeah, that's early enough. Let's put flaps full now, so we get that out of the way. Bit rocky. Four miles. We're going on track 008. 1000 with a stable. The runway is there with visual. So at 2.5 we'll do our left turn. So we'll deactivate the flight director. Sorry, somebody at the door. Okay, deactivate autopilot, go manual. (2.5). We start descending. That's very helpful, the barking dog in the background. There we go. 1 white, 3 red. Shallow up a little bit. Retard. There we go. Auto brake. Reverser. See, even if you auto brake low, it's quite good. A little bit of manual braking. Reverser idle. There we go. Nice difficult landing with the barking dog in your ears. I was fairly happy with the result. Not too bad. There we go. So welcome to Rome Ciampino. There we go. So at this point we can disarm the spoiler. That would be the captain will disarm the spoiler. The pilot flying will disarm the spoiler, and that's the signal for the pilot monitoring to do everything else. So flaps up, lights can go off, the strobe, the landing, the runway and the nose stay on. We can start the APU. Weather radar off, transponder to exponder, and then we do the after landing checklist. Exterior lights are set, flaps are 0, ground spoilers disarmed, APU is started, radar is off, and TCAS is standby. We read it here, TCAS standby. After landing checklist complete. Check the accumulator pressure is in the green, and cabin crew goes to manual and cross check. Can turn the lights off as we're turning into stand. APU is coming up. (95% will be available. There we are. APU is available. Engines off. Cockpit door unlocked. Seatbelts off. Engines are spooled down, so beacon can come off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fuel pumps. Clear. 2000. Stand by. Parking checklist. Parking brake is on. Engines are off. Slides are disarmed. Beacon is off. Seatbelts off. Fuel pumps 6 off. And ATC 2000 and stand by. And that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining me on this flight. I hope you'll you have some material to go through, and hopefully you'll manage to do this approach yourself. I'm planning to do many more. I really like these kind of approaches, and with the Airbus is a double really so easy. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask as many questions in the comments as you want. If you like the video, please, of course, press the like or subscribe, and I'll try and make plenty of these videos in the future. Thank you very much again, and well, bye now for now.